before I get into the film, you probably already tell with my voice actually, but I knocked out a tooth recently, so I'm a little bit lispy. But I thought, I'm not really going to have it properly sorted for God knows how many months, because it takes a fucking age to do this shit. So I thought I best just, get on and try and do all this stuff. I could have replaced my voice with some sort of AI or some shit, but where's the fun in that? Probably a bit more fun having to listen to me try and fucking speak properly. I mean, actually, it's quite difficult to me now trying to do this, but I wanted to. There's a lot of stuff out, and I can't miss it all. Especially this week was going to be a big week. I got Barbie, Oppenheimer, and then The Witcher is about the end. I wanted to all cover, but it is what it is, and hopefully this is actually, tolerable in terms of listening to. It might even be a bit funny, but we're going to get into Barbie, a film that has had a lot of hype around it. That and Oppenheimer, of course. Pretty much now like a whole weekend event and pretty much around it. When we went to see this, fucking loads and loads of people all in pink. Even like some of the workers at the cinema dressed in pink. It is its own cinematic event. God, that's hard to say. But, I'm starting with Barbie as the film we saw first. And, it is quite a special film, I say. It is not really going to get one of these very often. It is pretty brilliant, actually. I mean, when you think about it, this film has a huge budget, in all fairness, and all these people working on it, and it does show there is an absolute baldache of effort put into this to make it as good as it is. I mean, for me, the first bit is, I think, Ryan Gosling. The whole cast is great, but Ryan Gosling is pretty fantastic. I mean, he is probably having the time of his life making this. I think they all are. I mean, you can tell while just watching this film that the whole cast is just having an absolute laugh. They are enjoying every second of it. And Ryan Gosling, he just does pretty much anything. He's singing, he's dancing, he's probably got some of the best jokes in the film. He's having an absolute laugh. Margot Robbie as well as Barbie, she's brilliant. Even poke fun of it a bit with Helen Mirren's voice narration, which was actually quite interesting, and it worked. It did work. Sima Lee as well. Sounds right. This doesn't sound right when I say it now, does it? And Issa Rae as well. That's some of the supporting cast you see more of. And even like Will Ferrell and Kate McKinnon are both normally, for me, pretty fucking annoying in anything they're in, but here they are actually very funny. And it's not really much, never really thought I'd say that about Will Ferrell, to be fair. Very funny. The rest of them, you've got Michael Cera as Alan, who is... I think he's just playing Michael Cera, to be fair. He doesn't really need to do much. The new Doctor and Nikita, he's brilliant. And his co-star in Bad Education, Emma Mackey, they're... I feel like as great as everyone is, a lot of these people don't have too much to do in the film, but when they are on screen, you can just see it in their faces how much they're enjoying just being there, and they are having a good time. And I think a lot of this is probably due to Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach's script. God, it's really difficult to say some of these fucking words, But I mean, it's really good in terms of its comedic writing. I mean, this film is pretty fucking hilarious, and especially our audience, they just ate it all up, man. Especially, I think, the whole the singing on the beach sequence. I mean, there's one guy in our theatre who was just laughing the whole way through it, non-stop, belly laughing. He was in top left corner as well. We're in mid-right, and you just hear him. He was echoing throughout the whole cinema. And he was just laughing, just taking it all in. And it is like that. I mean, it's so good. It's so funny. I think Ryan Gosling definitely has the better jokes out of everyone. This whole plot around him essentially learning what the patriarchy is and bringing it back to Barbie world is so ridiculous, but it is hilarious. He comes with an obsession with horses and realising that because he's a man he has everything. Because I mean, it is mostly all the jokes, they all do land for the most part. I can't really actually think of any that I didn't find that funny. There's a lot of interesting references to film. There's the Godfather one's really good. There's a Shining one. And there's a few really great cameos as well that I don't want, not even nothing else, I'm not going to spoil. They are very funny. But one of the best things as well is probably the set design. As a whole, it looks just fantastic. I mean, most of it, I'm guessing, is practical creatures, like the whole Barbie world. I'm sure they built most of that. And then the big, that kind of warehouses they use for some of the dance sequences are all really just, they look good and they make you feel good. Barbie world in itself is just makes you happy. And I think the cinematography helps with this as well. They shoot it in a way that makes you like be able to see pretty much all of it in its glory. The musical sequences are great. And they're mainly carried again by Ryan Gosling. But as the music in itself, I think most of the songs, they're all like pop songs, aren't they? Not written for the film, but made for the film. Some of them are used, some aren't. That Ice Spice one isn't in the film, but then you have like the Billie Eilish one is. And there's even like a Lizzo, like kind of like a type of like Lizzo narration song. It is quite funny in all fairness. That's played during the start of the film. But sometimes it can be a little bit overbearing and slightly annoying because it is just, like modern day pop music. You've heard it before and you're going to hear it here. And there are a few more issues. I think the mother and the daughter characters are a little bit annoying and maybe even a bit pointless to the film itself. Their main role essentially is to kind of save the day by the end of it, really, and which I think probably should have been given to Barbie. But near the end, she gets to just have this huge monologue, which just explains to you the point of the film that it's trying to make. And it's they've already showed this point and even probably mentioned it a few times before this moment, but now it's in the form of a monologue, which is a little bit eye-rolling kind of thing. Sat for a film that has been dealing with this for nearly 2 hours now, and then you got to hear it again, but in the form of a long monologue that kind of continues throughout, like a little mini montage, but not as bad as just the full 2-minute monologue. And then the sequences in the real world, and they're not as interesting as it is in Barbie world, which I think was always going to happen in all fairness, and I think they knew this as well. So those scenes don't really last long, nor you don't particularly spend much time in the actual real world, which it's definitely a good thing. But for me, this film is an absolute joy to sit through. It is so much fun, and I'll happily go see it again maybe one day. It's entertaining from start to finish, and there's not really much to complain about. So this gets a 4 out of 5 stars, and next up will be Oppenheimer to finish Barbieheimer. So have a good one.